Hiya, friends. Welcome back to our channel. We hope you're feeling comfortable and relaxed because today we're reflecting on a topic that's been swimming around in my head: the importance of looking at the other side of the coin in our decision making. You know, I had this moment the other day that really got me thinking. I was chatting with a friend about a decision they were trying to make, and it struck me how easy it is for us to get caught up in our initial reactions without really looking at the whole picture. Our conversation was so enlightening because it exposed me to ideas and viewpoints I would have never considered on my own. It reminded me how valuable it is to share perspectives with others. It's like we're all carrying around these invisible biases, these little lenses that color how we see the world. And sometimes these biases can lead us to make decisions that might not be as great as we think they are at first glance. We've all heard the saying, hindsight is 20/20, right? It's so true. Looking back, it's easy to see where we went wrong or what we should have considered. But wouldn't it be great if we could have that clarity before making a decision? That's what looking at the other side of the coin is all about. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about being afraid to make decisions. It's about proceeding with a little caution by doing our due diligence. It's about taking the time to think things through beforehand. Let's face it, when decisions are made, we can't necessarily expect them to stay unchanged forever. But here's the thing, it's so much easier to avoid unnecessary changes if we think things through from the start. And let's be honest, it gets even more complicated when there are other people involved in the decisions. So it's crucial to go over what we can as early on as possible. Imagine you're planning a big trip with friends. If you take the time to consider everyone's preferences, budget constraints, and potential challenges up front, you're much more likely to have a smooth and enjoyable experience. On the other hand, if you rush into decisions without considering all angles, you might end up with conflicts or last-minute changes that could have been avoided. So how can we start looking at the other side of the coin more often? Here are a few habits I've been trying to incorporate into my own life. 1. The break. Whenever I'm faced with a decision or a new idea, I try to stop before reacting. I take a deep breath and remind myself to look at the whole picture. 2. The 360-degree view. I try to imagine walking all the way around the issue. What does it look like from different angles? What might I be missing from my initial viewpoint? 3. The devil's advocate. I challenge myself to argue against my initial reaction. Even if I think something is a great idea, I ask, but what if it's not? What could go wrong? 4. The long-term lens. I try to think not just about the immediate results, but about what might happen down the road. How might this decision play out in a year, 5 years, 10 years? 5. The curiosity approach. Instead of immediately agreeing or disagreeing with something, I try to ask questions. I get curious about the parts I don't understand or haven't considered. Looking at the other side of the coin isn't about being negative or cynical. It's about being thorough, thoughtful, and open-minded. It's about making decisions with our eyes wide open. Let's take energy, for example. Renewable energy sources sound great, right? And in many ways, they are. But if we're looking at the other side of the coin, we need to ask some important questions. Is it affordable for everyone? Is it sustainable in the long run? What happens when the equipment reaches the end of its life cycle? These aren't negative questions, they're important ones that help us make more informed decisions. It's not about finding reasons not to do something, but about understanding the full picture so we can make the best choices possible. You know, I've found that when I take the time to consider both sides of the coin, I'm often surprised by what I discover. Sometimes an idea that seemed perfect at first glance turns out to have some serious drawbacks. Other times, something I initially dismissed turns out to be a great option once I consider all the angles. And here's something else I've noticed. When we look at both sides of the coin, we're better prepared for whatever comes our way. We've already considered different scenarios, so we're less likely to be caught off guard. It's like we're giving our future selves a gift, the gift of preparedness and understanding. The truth is, none of us are perfect at this. We're all going to make decisions sometimes without considering every angle. And that's okay. The important thing is that we're trying, that we're making an effort to see the bigger picture. Here's a quick challenge for you this week. Pick a decision you need to make. Before deciding, consider the potential drawbacks and discuss it with someone you trust. Reflect on how this process affected your decision. Did the experience of looking at the other side of the coin change your mind about something? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and grow together. Take care, and remember, there's always more to things than meets the eye. By looking at both sides of the coin, we're not just making better decisions, we're understanding our world a little better every day. Until next time, friends, thanks for watching.